Has notified President Cyril Ramaphosa about Parliament's intention to proceed with impeachment proceedings against Public Protector Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane. The move follows a recent Constitutional Court decision which paved the way for Parliament to proceed with the process. In terms of the Constitution, the President may suspend the Public Protector pending the outcome of that process. Okay, so that's the breaking news tonight. The President being informed. Let's get some more analysis for you. We're joined by Lawson Naidoo, Executive Director at CASAC. Thank you for being with us. Lawson, Parliament didn't make its intention clear that it would go ahead with this impeachment even while there were legal proceedings. And let's just be clear, there still are legal proceedings, I think, because the Public Protector has applied for a rescission order. So the Constitutional Court has ruled on this, but she's still trying to have that overturned.
Indeed. Good evening, Francis. Thank you. Yes, the Constitutional Court has ruled on the Public Protector's appeal against the decision of the Western Cape High Court. It has confirmed that while she is entitled to legal representation during the impeachment proceedings in Parliament, there was no bar to a judge, a retired judge, President Mkhwebane, serving on the independent panel appointed by the Speaker to advise Parliament on whether there was a prima facie case or not. So on that basis, Parliament is now at full liberty to proceed with those impeachment proceedings in terms of Section 194 of the Constitution. And whilst you correctly point out that Advocate Mkhwebane has indicated that she will be seeking a rescission of that Constitutional Court judgment, that, as we know from experience over the last year or so, is only granted in very, very exceptional cases. And I don't think that this case fits into that category. And we know also that the Public Protector had another rescission application in respect of the CR17 matter dismissed by the Constitutional Court recently.
Explain how this is going to work now that there's a judge, because once something goes to Parliament, you would think, okay, majority of votes rule. So it really depends how the ANC views the Public Protector right now and where the majority of MPs are likely to move towards. Explain the powers of the judge within this whole process now.
Well, Justice Mkhwebane served as part of the three-person panel that was appointed by the Speaker some time ago to advise that this one of the stages in the 17-step process that Parliament has to go through in order to impeach the head of a Chapter 9 institution. So that report was tabled in Parliament. It was accepted that there was a prima facie case for the Public Protector to face in terms of the issues of gross misconduct that were levelled at her at the instance of the Democratic Alliance. And then Parliament was due to move into the second phase of that, but that obviously got held up by a combination of COVID as well as the legal proceedings initiated by Advocate Mkhwebane. But now that that process is ended, it is a parliamentary committee that will now conduct the second phase of that investigation to hear evidence where, as I said, Advocate Mkhwebane will be able to give evidence in her defense. She will be able to be assisted by a legal representative of her choice. But she must be questioned by the parliamentary committee in her personal capacity, not through her lawyer, because ultimately she is accountable to the National Assembly, and this is an important part of that accountability process. So once Parliament has heard all of that evidence, and considered the evidence before it, the committee will then make a recommendation to the National Assembly, which will be required to pass a resolution with a two-thirds majority if it wishes to remove her from office. And if that is done, then the President will be obliged to remove her as the Public Protector. But the issue that arises now, of course, is now that Parliament has confirmed that these impeachment proceedings are going to continue, that the President now has the discretion to suspend her pending the outcome of this inquiry in Parliament.
How likely do you think it is that she will be suspended? And remember that she said to the Constitutional Court, you've made me vulnerable to a biased president who will now likely suspend me.
Well, I don't think that argument held much water in the Constitutional Court because, the President was asserting his legal rights and did so successfully. The President is now acting in a different capacity, not as a litigant, but as the head of the National Executive, in whom the Constitution entrusts the power to suspend someone who is subject to an impeachment process. And let us not forget, Francis, these are very serious allegations that have been leveled against Advocate Mkhwebane. And given the dispute that the Office of the Public Protector has been brought into as a result of this, the litigation, as well as Advocate Mkhwebane's conduct, it would certainly be appropriate, in my view, for the president to exercise that discretion and to suspend her from office pending the outcome of this parliamentary process.
Yeah. Mr. Naidoo, this has been called unprecedented. How significant is this for our democracy that the head of a Chapter 9 institution is now going to have to go through these impeachment processes, whatever the outcome is, in Parliament?
Well, it is unprecedented, as you say, Francis, because we've never had a situation where the head of a Chapter 9 institution has faced a process such as this. But it's also an important statement of our commitment, which is one of the foundational values of the Constitution, that public officials must be held accountable for their conduct or indeed their misconduct. And this is a part of the accountability mechanism that Parliament has in place, provided for in the Constitution. And it's an exercise of that accountability, that in the way that Advocate Mkhwebane has conducted herself, the nature of some of the judgments that have gone against her, calling into question her bona fides. There's been a recommendation that she be charged with perjury, amongst other things. So these are extremely serious issues, and Parliament needs to ensure that it follows due process, considers the facts before it that come out in the inquiry, and applies the appropriate sanction if indeed they think that she is guilty of misconduct.
All right, very quickly, do you think she'll survive?
Well, I think, as has been clear from the very start of this process, that Advocate Mkhwebane is going to use every tool in the book to try and delay this process, and no doubt she'll probably try to bring another interdict of some sort, or simply pursue the rescission application. But as I say, that rescission application has very little chance of success. So it's a question of the political will in Parliament as to how quickly they are able to conduct and conclude these proceedings of the Section 194 committee and make a recommendation to the National Assembly. We know that Advocate Mkhwebane has literally 18 months of her tenure left, and it is to be hoped that the parliamentary process will be concluded before that date arrives.
Well, I can throw in one more question, but you've preempted it. I mean, how quickly will the impeachment, how long before it takes place, do you think, and how long could that process be?
Well, again, because it's an unprecedented process, as we've said, it's not clear, but it's certainly, I think if Parliament, the parliamentary committee starts working swiftly, there's no reason why that inquiry process within Parliament can't be concluded within the next 6 months.
All right, thank you very much, Lawson Naidoo, Executive Director at CASAC. Thank you very much for that.